It is with heavy hearts that we announce the passing of one of America's most well-known televangelists, Reverend Jimmy Swaggart, who died Tuesday at the age of 90 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. According to the family, Swaggart never regained consciousness after suffering a heart attack at his home on June 15th. He spent his final days in the hospital, surrounded by family and loved ones. His ministry confirmed the heartbreaking news with a statement that read, "Today, our hearts are heavy as we share that Brother Swaggart has finished his earthly race and entered into the presence of his Savior, Jesus Christ." For over 7 decades, Jimmy Swaggart dedicated his life to preaching the gospel, spreading messages of faith, and inspiring millions around the world with his heartfelt sermons and gospel music. But his journey was anything but simple. It was a life filled with passion, public service, fame, and controversy. And yet he remained one of the most recognizable voices in Christian broadcasting. Let's take a closer look at the complex legacy of Jimmy Swaggart. From his humble beginnings to his meteoric rise, his personal struggles, and the indelible mark he left behind. Born on March 15, 1935 in Faraday, Louisiana, Jimmy Lee Swaggart grew up in a modest home steeped in faith and music. As a child, he was already drawn to both the Bible and the piano. At just 8 years old, Swaggart said he felt a powerful call from God. In an interview decades later, he described the moment by saying, "Everything seemed different. I felt better inside, almost like taking a bath." Music played a significant role in his upbringing. Coming from a family of talented musicians, Jimmy quickly developed a gift for gospel singing and piano playing, skills that would one day reach millions. In 1952, at the age of 17, Jimmy married his lifelong partner, Frances Anderson. By his early 20s, he fully committed himself to ministry, despite struggling financially in the beginning. Swaggart's breakthrough came in 1969, when he launched a radio program called The Camp Meeting Hour. It was a turning point. By its peak, the show was airing on over 700 radio stations. But it was in television that Swaggart truly found his platform. In 1973, he began producing a 30-minute weekly TV program. The Jimmy Swaggart Evangelistic Association presents Jimmy Swaggart. What started with a local production soon expanded across the country. By 1979, the broadcast grew to a full hour, reaching millions of viewers every Sunday morning. His messages were fiery, emotional, and direct, resonating with audiences looking for hope and salvation. In 1981, he added a daily program called A Study in the Word, which still airs to this day. At the height of his influence in the mid-1980s, Swaggart's ministry was estimated to bring in $142 million annually, making it one of the most successful televangelist operations of its time. His face was familiar on thousands of TV screens. His voice, commanding and sincere, became a Sunday morning tradition for families across the country. Jimmy Swaggart wasn't just a preacher. He was also a beloved gospel musician. His musical catalog includes classic gospel songs like He Washed My Eyes with Tears and Old Gospel Ship. Over the years, he released gospel albums that sold more than 17 million recordings. Music remained central to his ministry. His family worship center, which opened in 1984, became both a spiritual hub and a stage where he blended preaching with heartfelt music. The church's design, circular with sloped seating, was built to immerse visitors in both message and melody. It remains a cornerstone of his ministry in Baton Rouge. Even in his later years, Jimmy could still be seen playing the piano during services, often joined by his son, Donnie Swaggart, who gradually took over more day-to-day responsibilities. In 1988, Jimmy Swaggart's reputation took a major hit when he was caught in a scandal that shocked his followers. A tabloid published images of the preacher with a sex worker in New Orleans. In a now famous televised sermon, Swaggart tearfully confessed to his congregation, "I have sinned against you. I beg you to forgive me." The moment became one of the most talked about events in televangelism history. His emotional apology was broadcast across the nation, capturing headlines for weeks. Just a few years later, in 1992, he faced further criticism when he was stopped by police in California with another woman who later admitted to being a sex worker. This time, Swaggart didn't address the situation publicly in the same way. Instead, he told his congregation, "The Lord told me it's flat, none of your business." These incidents led to his defrocking by the Assemblies of God, the denomination he once proudly represented. Though he never denied preaching, the scandals had a lasting impact. His viewership declined, donations dropped, and critics were quick to label him a hypocrite. And yet he pressed on. Jimmy Swaggart continued his ministry, albeit on a smaller scale. His church remained open, his broadcasts continued, and his loyal followers never fully abandoned him. In his later years, Jimmy Swaggart led a more private life, but he remained a fixture in his ministry, still preaching, singing, and spreading the message he had devoted his entire life to. Just weeks before his death, Swaggart suffered a heart attack at his Baton Rouge home. Despite medical attention, he never regained consciousness. He passed away peacefully in the hospital, surrounded by family. In the days following his passing, tributes poured in. Fellow pastors and religious leaders praised his decades of service and influence. Jesse Duplantis said Swaggart had impacted countless lives with the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the world. Pastor Travis Johnson wrote, "Prayers up for the Swaggart family. Few voices have echoed across the world like his." However, public reaction was mixed. While some mourned the loss of a spiritual leader, others brought up past controversies and questioned his legacy. But whether admired or criticized, Jimmy Swaggart left a significant footprint on religious broadcasting in America. His bold style, his music, and his commitment to ministry defined an era. His ministry, radio network, and worship center continue to operate, led by his family and faithful staff. In recognition of his lifelong work, Jimmy Swaggart is set to be posthumously inducted into the Southern Gospel Music Association Hall of Fame later this year. A fitting tribute to the musical side of a man whose voice touched millions. His ministry has also announced that July 12th and 13th will be set aside as official days of remembrance, giving his followers a chance to honor the man, his message, and his music. Swaggart's Baton Rouge residence, which he shared with Francis, sits just 15 minutes from the church he built and led. The home, part of 3 adjacent properties registered to his ministry, is surrounded by peaceful gardens. A quiet retreat for a man who once lived in the national spotlight. Jimmy Swaggart's story is one of high peaks and deep valleys. A man who captivated millions, stumbled in the public eye, and still found the strength to continue serving until his final days. He was a husband, father, grandfather, preacher, pianist, and for many, a spiritual guide. As we remember Reverend Jimmy Swaggart, we invite you to reflect on the legacy he leaves behind. A complicated, yet undeniably impactful life of faith, music, and perseverance. What are your thoughts on his life and legacy? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video meaningful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our future videos on faith, history, and notable lives. Thank you for watching, and may peace be with you.